welcome to the Vlogging Pod. Today we're digging into something that's been stirring a lot of worry. The idea of using military troops, specifically Marines, against civilians here in the U.S. after protests in Los Angeles. Now let's be clear. What happened in L.A. wasn't a riot. It wasn't an insurrection. According to both the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department and the mayor's office, only one person was arrested. 2 fires were reported, but both were quickly put out without much damage or escalation. There was no looting and no large-scale violence. Local officials have said the situation was under control. So the idea that federal troops, especially active duty Marines, need to be deployed raises serious legal and moral questions. Let's start with the legal side. The Insurrection Act is one of the only laws that allows a president to deploy the military against American citizens without a state's permission. But there are strict conditions for doing that. There must be an actual insurrection or violent uprising, and local authorities must be unable or unwilling to regain control, and the president must issue a formal public proclamation. None of those conditions were met in L.A. In fact, Governor Newsom made it clear that things were under control, and no proclamation was issued. Earlier this year, a federal court ruled that the administration couldn't use the Insurrection Act to justify immigration raids either. That's important because it shows the courts aren't buying a vague or political convenient uses of this law. If it wasn't allowed to support deportation raids, it certainly shouldn't be used to suppress protests that haven't even turned violent. Then there's the questions of what Marines are actually allowed to do. The Posse Comitatus Act makes it illegal for military forces, including the Marines, to carry out domestic law enforcement. That means they can't arrest people, control crowds, or police neighborhoods unless very specific exceptions are triggered by law. Marine Corps policy itself, laid out in MCO 5500.6H, reinforces that. Marines are prohibited from acting as civilian police off base unless they've been given a formal mission to do so under legal authority. That authority doesn't exist in this case. There's no law basis to send in Marines to police American streets in Los Angeles, especially during peaceful demonstrations. There's also a deeper issue here about more responsibility. Every service member in the U.S. military swears an oath to support and defend the Constitution, not a political figure, not an administration, and not a party. That oath includes a duty to follow lawful orders, but also a duty to refuse orders that are illegal or unconstitutional. Military law recognizes that there are times when refusing to obey an order is the correct and legal thing to do, especially if the order results in harming civilians or violating constitutional rights. Using force against peaceful protesters could very well fall into that category. And it's not just theoretical. There's a long history of military personnel refusing unethical or illegal orders from the Vietnam era to Iraq and being protected for doing so. Today's sources are from the Posse Comitatus Act, Marine Corps Order MCO 5500.6H, the U.S. Department of Defense Law of War Manual, federal rulings on the Insurrection Act from earlier this year, public statements that the L.A. Sheriff Department, Governor Newsom, and the DHS. Thank you for listening. Until next time, bye-bye for now.